it has been really interesting watching the way that the right wing right now is kind of trying to process the way that their position, or at least many of the people within the right wing's position on abortion rights, is just being rejected by America broadly and is not popular and is hurting them electorally, the Republican Party, that is. And so supporters of the party within the media, such as on Fox News, are grappling with that fact, which is definitely interesting. And especially interesting because there's differences of opinion. Some people are saying, no, we're correct. Keep being proud of the extreme laws being implemented across the country and the extreme positions on abortion, even if it keeps hurting us electorally, as was the case once again with the kind of de facto vote on abortion rights in Ohio, how that was a big part of the failure of issue 1. And so I have for you here something I looked at when guest hosting for the David Pakman Show, but I want to look at the extended clip now here of Sean Hannity bringing on both Tudor Dixon, the former gubernatorial candidate, and Mike Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas, and asking both them the question of essentially, should the Republican Party moderate itself on the issue of abortion? They have two different answers, and we'll talk about what this means after this.
Both pro-life. We saw the vote in Ohio, and I will tell you that if you look at Doug Mastriano and Tudor, even your race, I would argue that people that have very restrictive views on abortion, unlike, say, Mississippi has 15 weeks, that was the Dobbs decision, that anything less than that, the fear among many conservatives is this will chase away many suburban voters. Do you agree with that, Mike Huckabee?
I do not. I think the problem is Republicans have done a very pitiful job of explaining that the difference is we want to protect life. Democrats want to take it right up to the point of birth. They want to butcher a fully developed child. We've got to take it to the Democrats. Quit playing.
Far too often we hear talking points like that, of course, as I've made clear a gazillion times. The only late-term abortions that happen are medically necessary, life of the mother, the fetus no longer viable. It's not even a situation where 9th month of pregnancy, someone comes in and wants what they call an abortion on demand, healthy mother, healthy fetus, but just never mind, doesn't happen. And Democrats don't support that.
Playing defense. Let's be clear about what we stand for. And it is that every human life has worth, value, and there's no such thing as an expendable or disposable human being.
Tudor, last word.
Their message is very strong on this. They've won over women. We saw it. We just saw it in Ohio. We have to start fighting on the cultural side of it, and we have to fight on the issues that matter to people politically on the political side in a different way.
I think the American people, and I consider myself pro-life, I believe in the sanctity of life, but I think politically that Republicans have got to say, as Bill Clinton once said, I never thought I'd quote him, rare, legal, and I'd add the word very early in a pregnancy. That seems to be politically where the country is. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. That vote in Ohio was pretty.
And indeed, the country is not where much of the GOP is right now. And we've talked about polling. 60+% of Americans disapprove of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And we've seen the Wisconsin Supreme Court race heavily focused on abortion rights and went in the direction of the liberal candidate in a stunning fashion. And the most recent failure of issue 1 in Ohio indicating abortion rights may be protected come November. 27% of people leaving in the exit polling in the 2022 midterm said abortion rights was their top issue. And then, of course, going a little bit back, the vote in Kansas protecting reproductive freedom. So when people have a say directly, and there are, of course, other examples, they're coming out very strongly. And what's interesting is it's not just about polling or about necessarily kind of the general sentiment towards these different issues. It's how much does that issue motivate people as well. And so you have issues where it polls really high, but would it necessarily make a huge impact in an election because people might not rank it as their top issue? But with 27% of people ranking that as their top issue after the 2022 midterms, that's a big portion of people, and they're is a huge impact that we've already seen on turnout when abortion rights is a center of an election, is at the center, I should say, at the core of the conversation of an election, whether it be a candidate or a direct ballot initiative. And so I do think it's look out electorally, Republicans, because if you continue down this road, these extreme abortion laws, we just somewhat recently saw DeSantis implement the 6-week abortion ban in Florida. We're seeing outright bans. You're going to have electoral backlash. And I hope that indeed happens so that eventually, obviously, from the standpoint of policy, we could see better policy implemented and less extreme laws pushed for. The other thing this, once again, kind of reminds us of is the way that the GOP has multiple elements of it. One of the elements is kind of the most extreme on a bunch of different issues. And when it comes to most of the conversations, it's this MAGA contingent. And I do think it risks, which if they insist on being prominent in the party, then let it happen. But risks really taking down the GOP with it, which I hope, if MAGA, for example, stays prominent within the party and stays powerful, it will bring down electorally the GOP with it. Because what's happening is in these primary races, the MAGA portion or the most extreme portion is big enough to win these primaries and to define the agenda of the party. But then they get into the general, and often those candidates are not doing so well, and those positions are not doing so well. And it's the monster that the GOP allowed to be created and assisted in creating, and Trump and Trumpism, the election denying, all of it. If they started calling it out earlier, maybe they wouldn't be here. But they are. They have to deal with it. Last thing on this, Axios reports National Democratic operatives are looking to the decisive defeat of Ohio's issue 1 this week as a green light for abortion-focused message going into the 2024 campaign. And it looks like that will be a big part of 2024. And we will absolutely see how it plays out. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. And there's a link in the description.